Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. This week we take a road trip to New York City to go see the Patek Philippe Grand Exhibition, but we also doing some other things too. I'm going to be meeting for the first time one of our viewers. He's from the other side of the world, and we're going to meet in New York. And he also has the Watch of the Week, so we're going to take a look at that. Also, too, I'm on my way to, I have to get a new band for my Harry Winston. And the reason for it is that these bands are fairly complex. They have these little fast release gizmos, so they're easy to take off and change and so forth. But this part is a little more daunting because you have to have a little screwdriver if you're going to change bands with this. And so what I wanted them to do was to get this band on for me. Okay, well, so let's take off. And I'm wearing my Patek Philippe Calatrava 3468. Okay, so let's hop on the train and get going. Hi, on the way to New York City to the Patek Philippe exhibition, and I'm wearing my Harry Winston because we're also going to stop and get a new watch band for it. See you later. Okay, let's take a look at the Watch of the Week this week. Now this week we have a very special watch for more reasons than one. First of all, they only made 25 of these, and they run in a neighborhood of about $135,000. So, you know, somehow I got struck from my Christmas list. Anyway, this is a wonderful watch, and Amnitas Nito, sorry about the name, showed us and brought this watch. We're going to see it in a second in person. It is really impressive. It's a chronograph, a rot-de-punt, a split second. It's got a manual wind, which I really like a lot. The caliber is PF 361, Parmigiani caliber. Single movement system with a chronograph and other components like the regulation system and the gear train, and a single mechanism. Now this is no small feat. And it has an Hermes alligator band, or strap. So it's really cool. There are, like I said, a limit of 25 of these. But now, let's hear what Amitas has to say about it.
Amitas Persiami watch. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is a very special watch. This is a Parmigiani Fleurier, made especially to celebrate the 20th year anniversary of the brand. And this watch is amazing. First, there are just 25 of them in the market. Second, it's a watch where you can wear anywhere. It's totally made of gold. It's a high beat rate. And besides that, the watch is also a split second. So, you know, as you can see, it's a watch that you can use everywhere, but at the same time keeps some sort of a glamour, and it's very beautiful and nice to wear.
I gotta tell you, that watch is really something. I got to hold it, and it was like holding a giant gold nugget. What a beautiful watch. And it was a lot of fun. I think Aminus was a little nervous when oh boy. But anyhow, he was great. What we did, here was the plan. We met Amitas and had our little Watch of the Week with him. And then we had to go and get my strap over at Harry Winston's, and I had to stop by Tiffany's to pick up a little something. I call them a get out of jail free card. And then we were going to come back and meet at the Grand Exhibition, which was right across the street from where we are in this picture right here. Well, off we go to get the watch band for my watch. That's what it looks like when once I got it. And so we walked down. It's about I don't know how far it is from, well, we were at Grand Central Station, essentially, Grand Central Terminal. And we had to walk over to Fifth Avenue and then down Fifth to about the 700 block of Fifth. And I love walking to New York City. The only problem was it was so hot. It was one of those miserably hot and muggy days. It wasn't as bad as it is today and has been for earlier this week, but boy, it was a scorcher. But anyway, like I said, we really enjoy walking in New York City. Down Fifth Avenue we went, and there were so many tourists. It was just packed. I guess being from Connecticut, we consider ourselves visitors instead of tourists. Anyhow, okay, so off we went, and we arrived at Harry Winston. We were waiting in Harry Winston's for quite a while, but it was a nice place to wait. Now, the saga of me getting a strap for my Harry Winston goes back months when I ordered it. And the people at Harry Winston couldn't have been nicer. Well, anyway, after our long wait, in a nice environment, they finally came and they had the strap. But he said, here's the problem. The only strap that they make in Geneva for these anymore is the long. And I use the regular length, so I thought, well, if that's the only one they're going to make, I better take it and figure out how I can do it. I measured the one I had on to have a cognac colored band, and I measured it, and it looked pretty close. So I decided, well, heck, I'll go ahead and get it. Well, I guess they felt a little, after all this. So they gave me this hard shell travel case that was fantastic. It's funny because Fernando, he was the guy in the purple shirt that you saw in the when we had the interview with Amidas. He and I had been there to another store, I don't know, a few months ago, and they wanted like $400 or something for a little 2-watch travel case. And so here they were giving us one that was, so anyway, I figured, well, that was worth the wait. Okay, now we got one more stop, and then we got to get back to the Patek Philippe show. And our next stop is Tiffany's. Okay, well, we got to Tiffany's, and we ended up with another wait. What had happened? The gift that I wanted to get for my wife was on a certain floor. I knew where it was, and so I thought, well, I asked the guy in the elevator. I said, we want to go up to such and such a floor. I said, well, they moved everything down a floor because they're doing renovations. So I go, oh, okay. Well, so we went down there, and here was a problem. I found what I wanted, found someone to help, and Tiffany's was really busy. I made a little video of just a very short one of waiting for it. And it sounds more like the bargain basement at Filene's than it does sort of the quiet, whispered ambience that you expect at Tiffany's. So anyway, this is what, again, we were waiting again.
People having a reason for get out of jail free card that he read. And sitting underneath this Okay, the last step in getting a watch in New York is stopping by Tiffany's.
Okay, so we got our get out of jail free card from Tiffany's. Now we had to go from Tiffany's all the way back to Grand Central Station. Tiffany's is up around 60th Street, I'm not sure, somewhere way up there. Anyway, it's right next to Trump Tower, there's usually some kind of racket there. When he's in town, it's a mess. So anyway, so back to Grand Central we went, and over to the Patek show. Well, we arrived at the Patek show, and they were handing out water, the special Patek Philippe bottles of water, which I have mine still, and so I like to say I got a genuine Patek Philippe water bottle. Okay, so we went in and we went to the museum, and there was a big welcome sign for us all. I thought that was nice of them. Anyhow, so we get in there, and the the place was amazing. First of all, we went. There was this wall of Calatrava crosses. This is a little logo that Patek Philippe uses, and we contacted to meet us, and we told them where we were. And we waited. We didn't hear from them, and we didn't know what happened. We thought, well, maybe he had something else, or was gone, or some kind of business to do. So we thought, well, what we'll do is we'll just go and we'll start the show, and if we hear from him, meet us, well, then we can meet up. So anyway, so we started looking at these watches, and oh my goodness, they we went from one incredible group of watches and little clocks and things to another, and we were just at one small part of the exhibition, and they just kept coming, and no matter what we saw, it seemed like the next thing was even more spectacular. And they had everything you could think of. Just, and they had multiple copies of them. You always think it as a collector, well, would they miss one or several? And just like I said, here are some dueling pistols, and some kind of clockwork. And when they shot, there was like the little star thing at the end that would open up, and a gold egg-like bullet would stick its nose out. And they also had, here are some hands on a watch, and I've seen those in a more modern version, but this was some original design of it that was later used by somebody else. And the hand paintings on this little these pocket watches, and just amazing watches, and they just, there was no end to them. There was one thing after another, and when you see so many incredible watches and clocks all in one place, it's really very hard to process. And then you had famous people. Here's something by Charles and Henri Stern's perpetual calendar wristwatch. I mean, like, and again, we only saw just a little part of this. There was so much to see, and here you have some more modern watches. You have now you're getting into the wristwatches, and just like I said, tons of these incredible watches, and the final one is this called a Patek Philippe 89, and this was the most complicated mechanical watch in the world from 1989 to 2015, when Vacheron Constantin came out with a more complicated one, which I saw last year, and it was equally amazing. Now these are big suckers. I don't even think you could get them in your pocket, let alone on your wrist. But the general feat of horology that is represented in that watch, in a company that would take the time and take the resources to say, look, let's make this complicated watch. I know that when Vacheron Constantin did it, there were three guys who worked on it. I think it's either 3 or 5 years. I mean, they say, okay, you guys got to go work on that, and they did sell it. But they won a a Grand Prix award for just to encourage the whole horological effort. Before the Patek Philippe, the one before it was by Leroy, and it was the most complicated from 1900 to 1989. That has the longest longevity for this kind of watch. Well, anyway, like I said, this was just one thing after another, and we had it was hotter than blazes. And so when we got home, there was one last thing that I had to take care of. When I got my watch band, it was a bit too big. It was a little long, and there was something I'd been wanting to try for a while, and it's these, I guess you'd call them inserts that you put on the inside of the band. The purpose to extend their life because they will absorb all the moisture that you can generate during a day, everything from sweat to washing your hands and so forth. So what I did is that I cut them up into the pieces that would fit my new band, and I put them on the inside. And in this way, I would be able to add a little, perhaps thickness to the band, or perhaps tighten it up a bit, and at the same time have a moisture catcher to keep my bands in the best possible shape. Here I got to take off my other one first, and before I can try on my Airy Winston, and I click it on there, and it turns out it's still a bit big. I'm going to have to figure out a way to probably add another a little hole there, but it did help, and it's been really hot and sticky and humid, so it's all set for that. Well, that's it for today. We we certainly had an adventure, and when we were on the but one last thing, when we were on the train on the way back, we got the text from a minister. Says, "Okay, you guys, I'll meet you down there." This was we had to catch a 2:00 train back to Connecticut, and so we missed them on the last part. Okay, that's it. Love to hear your comments, and this is of course an invitation to subscribe if you'd like. Finally, one thing: enter the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève pick contest. This is where you go to the gphg.org and pick the ones you think are going to win the grand prize. And if you're right, you'll win a free watch. Or not, you don't have to get them all right. You just have to have more than anybody else. You get 1 point for everyone you have right, and you get 5 points if you get the grand prize, the Aiguille d'Or. All right, it's Bill Sanders for WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Hope to see you on Sunday.